Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what to do like right after the baby. So you have just gone through this 9-month pregnancy. Hopefully you've been doing Pilates your entire pregnancy, but maybe not. And so one of the biggest questions that I get asked by my clients is, what can I do right away? You've just had this baby, and a lot of them want to know, how can I start moving? What can I do immediately to help with my progress? And my first answer is nothing. Take it easy. You have just gone through a huge trauma, really. Pregnancy and childbirth are amazing, fantastic things, but they are big things for your body. And you need to remember that. You need to remember that your body has gone through a lot and it's repairing. And if you think about it, the amount of work and trauma that has been done to your body through pregnancy and childbirth, whether that be vaginally or an actual surgery with a C-section, you need to treat your body as if you're healing from an injury. And so if you think about it like that, the equivalent of healing a hamstring tear or tear in your rotator cuff, you don't just jump right back into doing big exercises. And I think we forget that. So I think that's one of the reasons why doctors tell us that we can't work out for 6 to 8 weeks after having a baby. But there are some things that you can do to get moving. And this is where my definition of postnatal exercise is different than most people's definition of exercise. And really, my goal early on after you've had a baby is to get you moving again. Start making those connections in your body, start kind of realigning things that have been shifted around during pregnancy, and it's gentle movement. It's starting to get back into the range of motion through your body, thinking about some of the alignment issues that you're going to be dealing with after having the baby, with picking up and sleeping funny and nursing and baby carrying and all of those things. So one of the earliest things you can do as soon as you feel like you have the energy is starting to walk. That is, even if you walk for 1 or 2 minutes from your front door to the sidewalk and back again. Just starting to move, just starting to walk a little bit, feeling what your body feels. It's simple, it's low impact, and it just gets you up and moving. We want to get the blood flowing, circulating, we want to get you breathing. And so that's kind of the one big thing that you can start as soon as you feel up to it. But don't start anything until you feel up to it, because you're going to be tired. And again, your body's just gone through some big stuff. So don't push it. The other thing that I like to tell my clients is I have this anagram that I like to think of. And it's, after the baby, focus on baby. And so what that stands for is B, breathing, A, alignment, B, belly, and Y, yourself. And so the first one, breathing, is really, really important. And most people forget about this. So your core canister is all connected. At the top you have your diaphragm, at the bottom you have your pelvic floor, and then all connected between there are your core muscles and your fascia and your ligaments and everything. So you have this core canister. And optimal breathing, when you inhale, your diaphragm drops and your pelvic floor drops. And then when you exhale, your diaphragm comes up and your pelvic floor comes up. And this requires a lot of, good look, I can't even do it with my hands, coordination between those core muscles. And when you're pregnant and you have a baby there, stress gets put on your pelvic floor, so it kind of, maintains this laxity, and stress gets pushed up on your diaphragm. So these two things aren't working optimally anymore. And so your diaphragm isn't moving or functioning the way it should. Because of that, your pelvic floor isn't moving, and you might have this like weird disconnect. And we want to get that breathing working again so that it's coordinated and that we're connecting through those core muscles. And this is very gentle. We're not doing sit-ups. It's just this breathing, okay? The problem is also when you're pregnant, things happen up in your rib cage and your thoracic spine, which house your lungs and your diaphragm. And so to get us breathing optimally again, we want to realign and find mobility through the thoracic spine and the rib cage again, so that the lungs can expand fully, so that the diaphragm can drop in all 360 degrees, which then allows it to work with the pelvic floor. So some of the exercises that I focus on and that I have learned through my training is to work on the mobility of the upper back, the thoracic spine, and the mobility of the rib cage, so that we can get that. And then starting to think about how the movement of the pelvic floor works with that. The second one, alignment. So this is a really big one. Your body has just gone through some crazy changes, and your posture has gone through some big changes as well. And this is the pregnancy posture. So you got the belly out, butt out, really, really compressed through the low back. And then you're picking up a baby all day, you're lifting them up, you're holding them in your arms, you're baby carrying them, you're tucking your butt, all those things. And so what we really want to do is think about and focus on how you are aligning your body in those activities and in those motions. So, let me show you. So, most people when they carry their baby, they jut out their hip and they're like this, or they're rounded over. You're reaching down to pick up the baby, you're rounding your back. You have them in their carrier and you're letting everything just hang out. So optimal movement, in this sense, and you can't see my face, is we want to find that stacking, the stacking of the ribs over the hips, and hugging that belly. So instead of letting it all hang out, you want to draw that pubic bone up towards the belly button and think about hugging the belly in. So you're nice and stacked through here. And, we've lost the strength in our front ab muscles. So this is easy to do. This takes no work at all. We're just hanging on the bones. But we don't want to do that. This is one of the best things that you can do to, number one, prevent pain after the baby, and number two, helping to reconnect these muscles. So thinking about that stacking when you're holding the baby in front of you. I have a post about this on Instagram of kind of how to move through this. But holding yourself up tall, so you're not like this holding the baby or like this holding the baby, nice and stacked. The other thing is finding this hip hinge. So instead of rounding over to pick up the baby, look at how your belly's just kind of hanging out, especially if you have a diastasis recti. This is really not going to work out well for you. This is going to exacerbate that because you're going into this deep flexion and your rectus abdominis is taking over. So we want to find that hip hinge right here. So you're picking up the baby, you have that nice long back. We're starting with that stacking from the rib cage to the pelvis, hinging at the hips and picking up the baby to you, using the glutes to lift you. So you're hinging down, putting the baby down, and then hinging back up, using this back to lift you while you're hugging the belly in. So again, you're protecting your back and protecting your front, okay? So there's this. Nursing is another good one. So, I know, middle of the night nursing, oh, you're exhausted. Who wants to think about their alignment? But it's really, really important. Just for your own pain relief, the aches and pains that come along with that, but also just your posture and your core support. So, this is nursing, right? Especially at 2 a.m., okay? What you want to do is find a nice supportive chair. Get that boppy, bring that baby up to you. Maybe put some pillows under the boppy so it doesn't slip and you're still resting on the boppy hunched over. Keep that boppy or that nursing pillow or whatever it is held up to you so that you can keep this nice tall spine. And if you have a supportive chair or it reclines, put a pillow back there. And if you do need to lay back, keep that hip hinge. Don't melt into the chair like this, because then you get this forward head posture, creating a lot of tension through the neck, the head, the upper shoulders. And this is what creates just that hunched feeling where you're just really tight up through here. Your shoulders start to hurt, headaches. You know, this is just, it's just not comfortable. The other thing is just like with lifting the baby, your belly is just hanging out here. And we want to think about keeping it connected and strong. So you're not bracing through it. You're not holding this crunch while you're nursing. You're just stacking your stuff up and thinking about using this kind of low abdominal area to just hug in a little bit so that it's supporting you. You think about having kind of one of those belts on, but without it. You could even do that. Think about how that feels around you and then maintain that support when you're not doing that. The third thing is belly. And so we talked a little bit about this already, similar things, but to my pregnant clients, I teach hug the baby. So if their baby's here, I teach them to hug that belly in towards their spine like this. After the baby comes, we switch to hug the belly. And that is just this idea of this wrapping, this integration of the lats down through the low back muscles, because your back is part of your core as well, drawing in from here, up from here, and integrating that breath. So, I'll stand up for this one again. Inhale, everything relaxes. Exhale, you're hugging it in, drawing that pelvic floor up as you zip in and up from here and hug those ribs in. And then inhale, everything releases. And then exhale, hugging everything in and up. Like you're kind of zipping from the bottom up and then drawing in like this. And it's literally that. You're hugging your belly to your spine. What we don't want to do is to go into this. It's not a crunch. It's simply a nice contraction that draws everything in. Come a little bit closer. Inhale, exhale. See, I'm lifting up. Inhale. My diaphragm is dropping, my pelvic floor is relaxing, letting it hang. The exhale, is a draw up of the pelvic floor as the diaphragm lifts, hugging all of this in, and then that extra little eek at the end where I feel like I'm drawing my hip bones together. That's that deep transverse abdominis, that is creating this low belly support. So that is one of the exercises I like to give very early on as well, because we're working on that optimal diaphragm, pelvic floor integration, the core connection, and you might not be able to feel that at the beginning, but just kind of bring your attention there and think about it. Think about that lifting of the pelvic floor, the zipping up through here and the tightening, not bracing, but just the wrapping around from here. And then, like I said, thinking about that draw together of those hip bones. So as we're bringing up the pelvic floor, you're drawing together those hip bones as you bring it in and up. And that's gonna help with that reconnection. It's also gonna help with with that diastasis. So we all have diastasis at the end of our pregnancies. For some, it just goes back together. For others, it doesn't. But this is also one of those main exercises I do with my diastasis clients who it hasn't gone back together yet. So finally, why? Yourself. Really, really important. You have a new baby, and if you have other children, everybody just wants a little bit of you. So you kind of forget about, giving something to yourself. So I encourage you to take the time for yourself. If you need a shower, put your baby in a bouncer and go take a shower. Drink lots of water, rest, don't push yourself. Again, you're healing from an injury. You need to take care of yourself. Ask for help, and I know that's really, really hard. Like, I don't like to ask for help. But if somebody offers, say, you know what? I'm gonna take you up on that. It is so important for your own healing to take the time. And it doesn't have to be an hour away from home or more getting your hair done or your nails done. It can be a walk, just kind of simply letting your mind slip away. You still have your baby with you, but you're getting out, you're getting some fresh air, take your showers, eat your food, drink your water, sleep. I know once you get the baby down at night, before that middle of the night feeding, you're like, oh, I can watch a show now. Don't do it. I mean, unless you really want to. But I highly encourage you to sleep. I made that mistake more than once because I have 2 kids. But it's important that you get your sleep and keep hydrated and check in with yourself emotionally, physically, and ask for help and accept help. So here's a couple other exercises that I like to suggest. I've learned these from Dr. Sarah Duvall in the Postnatal Corrective Exercise Specialist Training. These are exercises that can be done kind of between 2 to 4 weeks, maybe adding a week or 2 if you've had a C-section. But the focus on these is more mobility. Again, these are exercises, so we're not doing CrossFit. We are mobilizing the thoracic spine, mobilizing through the back, reestablishing that diaphragmatic breathing with the pelvic floor connection, creating space in the rib cage to allow for that, thinking about activating the glutes, and then just in general opening up the body. So here they are. So the first one is side lying rotations. So you're gonna lay on your side and bring your bottom arm out in front of you. Relax your neck, it's gonna kind of hang a little bit at the start. Stack your ribs, stack your hips. You can see I have a little bit of a space right here. I'm quite thin, but the thing is I'm not just collapsing down into that mat, because as soon as I do that, look, this hip shifts so it's not stacked anymore. So what you want to do is you want to you're going to stack those hips, stack those knees, line up the back of the head, back of the ribs, back of the pelvis. And I do have an active connection through here so that I'm not just slumping down into that mat. Keeps my hips stacked, keeps my ribs stacked. And then from here, you're gonna start to twist open. So you're gonna inhale, exhale, twist. As you twist, continue to reach that top knee forward. It's gonna wanna shift back, but then you're not getting that rotation through that upper spine. You're gonna inhale here, and then the exhale, twist a little more. Feeling like you're wringing out through that upper spine. Again, reaching that top knee forward. Exhale, reach. So we're opening up through the chest. We're mobilizing through that thoracic spine. Relax the neck, relax the shoulders, and continue that reach. Couple breaths there. Inhale. And then exhale to close it up. Good. And then you're going to do the other side. You're going to roll over. Again, stacking, lining up. Back of the head, back of the ribs, back of the pelvis. Stacking the shoulders, stacking the hips. So again, I'm not slumping down. I have that reach of that top hip to create space both on the top and the bottom. You're going to inhale. And then exhale, twist. Inhale, exhale, twist. Reach that top knee. That inhale feels like you're expanding through the ribs. Feel like it's helping to open up through the ribs. The exhale twists you a little bit more. Good. Inhale here. Exhale to close it up. So start with 2 to 3 of those on each side. Your goal is to get to 4 to 6 or so, just moving through that upper spine. This next one is called side lying breathing. I'm gonna just show it to you on this side, but you'll do this on both sides. Again, you're laying on your side. You can rest your head on your arm this time. Stacking the hips, just like that. So have space right here. Bring your hand right to your rib cage, and you're gonna inhale, and as you inhale, you wanna feel like you're breathing up into your hand. So it's gonna be like a little micro movement, but look closely on the video. So you're gonna inhale, expand up into the ribs, exhale, belly drops. What I am not doing is this. Or this. It's right here. So look, my shoulder doesn't move. It's right through the side here. Sometimes I like to put the thumb around the back and the fingers on the front. So not only do I feel this coming up, I also feel everything expanding out. So I feel like I'm breathing into my fingertips, my thumb, and the palm of my hand. And then the exhale, everything drops, comes back together, belly hugs in. Inhale, exhale. And again, you're gonna do 2 to 4 of those on each side. And we're working through that movement. One of the things I didn't mention when I was laying down there, and this is kind of a visual for you, you're gonna have to think about it, is as you are inhaling, the movement of this is your lungs expanding out and your diaphragm moving 360 degrees. Your diaphragm is like a parachute that opens up this way. As you inhale and that parachute opens up and drops, I want you to think about releasing and relaxing the pelvic floor towards your feet. And then the exhale is a draw in and up of the pelvic floor as the diaphragm comes up and the lungs deflate. So you're kind of inhaling everything. The lungs inflate, the diaphragm drops, the pelvic floor releases, and then the exhale, everything comes up. So you're gonna have to think about this a little bit because you might not have sensation in your pelvic floor after just having a baby. But this is where we want this movement and this integration of that diaphragm, that pelvic floor, the rib cage, and the lungs. So the next one is arm slides. And you're gonna lay on your back, flat on your back. Pull my ponytail out of the way. And you're gonna bring your arms out to the side. What you don't wanna do is let everything pop up. So you're gonna find a flat spot on the back of that sacrum and relax the ribs down. You might have a little bit of a rib flare that happens after you've had a baby, but do your best to find this neutral spine where you're flat on the back of the sacrum, you're anchored through the back of the ribs, and you just have a softness to the low back. You're not pressing everything in, you're not arching everything up, it's just like your low back is hanging there. You're gonna bring your arms out to the side. You're gonna inhale, expand 360 degrees in the rib cage, let the pelvic floor drop. Exhale, sliding the arms up. Inhale, brings the arms down, rib cage expands out to the side. Exhale, arms go up. Inhale, bring it down. What you don't want to do is as your arms go up, go into an arch. So it's not this, it's this. And this requires some coordination. So what I like to do is think about inhaling 360 degrees. That exhale, you give that belly a hug as you slide the arms up. Inhale, pelvic floor drops, ribs expand to the side. Exhale, hug that belly, slide those arms up. 2 to 4 of those. And, oh, look at that awesome hair. 2 to 4 of those with those arms drawing in and up. You're thinking about leveraging the lats to draw them down. So it's not a passive movement. You're thinking about bringing your arms back down by drawing your armpit towards your hip bone. So it's like this, okay? But you're just dragging them along. So we're working on that shoulder blade mobility, which is directly connected to that thoracic spine and rib cage mobility, and again, helping with that breathing. But also it just feels really nice on your chest after, you know, this. Hip flexor release is another one. So you're going to take, you can take a towel or something. This is just a sticky pad. Probably won't be as comfortable as a towel, but you're gonna put this under your hips. Mine's not really big enough, but it is what it is. So, just like that, you're gonna lay on your back and you're gonna bring your opposite knee up and reach the other leg long. And so you're opening up and stretching through here. My towel's not really big enough, but what you can do is give an extra little kind of contraction of the glute to open up through this hip even more. So this might feel sharp, but it should also feel really nice. Okay, and then bring that other leg down, reach it long, other leg up into the chest, drawing it in, folding at the hip, try not to let yourself round up like this as you go through this. So you're bringing that hip in, reach that leg long, contract the glute on the other side to open up through that hip. Good. So again, when you bring this leg up, you're trying not to let your low back drop down into the mat. You're going to keep that softness to the low back, but you're also not arching like this. It's a neutral spine. Good. And that should feel nice. cat-cow, one of my favorites. There's a couple different ways you can do this. It's gonna look familiar from yoga, if you've done yoga or whatever. A lot of people kind of passively move through their cat-cow. It's like, you know, like this. Well, you have just spent 9 months with a pretty deep low back arch, a lordosis. So in this movement, we actually want to try to find more movement through this part of the spine, where your thoracic spine meets your lumbar spine. So you're going to stack yourself on top of your knees, stack your shoulders on top of your wrists. And from here, I want you to feel like you're kind of reaching away from your wrists. So you're almost like floating off of your wrists. So you're not dropped down into this, you're not putting this crazy amount of pressure on your wrists. You're lifting up, not into a round yet, you're just lifting up away from your wrists, kind of finding some strength under the arms here. Crown of the head is reaching forward, you're not looking up yet. You can kind of imagine like you're trying to balance a glass of water right here on your sacrum. So you can see my back is really flat here. Maybe do this in front of a mirror so you can check out your alignment. When you go into your cat, you're going to inhale first. Exhale, initiate the rounding from that part of the spine that I showed you before. So you're reaching up right there where your like rib cage ends and your lumbar spine begins. And then you're gonna inhale back to neutral. And then exhale, you're tipping your heart forward and finding that arch through here. It's not a collapse, it's a reach forward of the heart. And again, exhale, reaching up through that spine. Good. So it's not a drop of the head, it's an active movement through the spine. And we're articulating, but I want you to think about that reach right kind of where like your bra strap would be. This should feel nice. You can go into a little child's pose afterwards, just to get off of your arms. Good. And then the last one, let me see if you can see this on here, is a little glute press. And you can bend the bottom knee or leave it straight. You can do this up against the wall, and on my reformer, obviously, hopefully you can see my foot here. But you would do this up against the wall. Again, stacking the ribs and the shoulders, stacking the hips. You can bend this knee, bringing that top leg up against the wall, and you're just pressing into the wall. And then release. And then pressing into the wall. And then release. Inhale. Exhale, hug that belly and press. And you want to feel that glute connect. I'm going to show you from the other side. You can see that, hopefully see that contraction. So you can, again, feel nice and stacked, reaching through that top leg. Inhale, exhale, hug that belly and press. You want to feel that connection from here. Inhale, release without dropping. So you're just releasing, you're still reaching. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Really simple exercises. Again, these are just to start reconnecting our parts, turning on and firing some of the pieces that may have been compensating or let go during pregnancy. And most importantly, just starting to get you moving again. Starting to get you feeling like you're not just stuck sitting. This will be optimal for your recovery. I know everybody wants to get back into exercising as quickly as possible. And again, my definition of postpartum exercise is very different than some others because I really want to stress that you are recovering from a big body event. This is not something little, and you need to treat your body with care and respect. Being completely sedentary is not good for you, but trying to go out and run 3 weeks after a baby or starting CrossFit is also not good for you. So let's start with those gentle movements, those exercises that are helping to reestablish connection through the core, opening up through the rib cage, optimal breath and alignment, and you're building yourself a really strong foundation for getting back into the things that you really love to do, and maybe those harder core exercises down the road. But we have to build the foundation first, or you're ultimately going to hurt yourself later. So I hope that you appreciated this little video with all of this information. I know it's a lot. I will also have a handout with this information that you can refer back to, and let me know what you think. Let me know if I missed anything or if I didn't answer any of your questions, and I'm happy to help you get back on track after having your baby. Congratulations.